everybody. It's that time again.
It is?
It's that time again.
I love it when it's that time.
That's right. It's the Jim and Peter Show. I'm Peter G, and that's my friend over there. What was your name
I like
again?
that song.
What was your name?
Mine?
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Hey, see?
Yeah.
So, here we are.
Okay.
The end. Again.
Is there beer on your side there?
No, sir.
Oh, okay.
It's only 6 a.m.
Perfect.
I made it a point that I don't even start until at least 7:30.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a stud.
Yes. Well, no. It's everything in moderation.
There you go.
Anyway, how you doing?
Doing good. The last couple of weeks have been pretty good, and I'm hoping to go forward in a happy and very worthy job. That's hopefully it's going to come my way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You should pray for me.
It just did.
Okay.
How'd that work out for you? How's that working for you?
Ty's not going to help me at all.
No. You know. Well, here's the deal. I've been thinking over the past week or so, a lot of things that we talked about, but this one, because we talked about just over the phone, and you know how I don't like talking over the phone about what we're going to talk about, because once again, we end up talking about it too much, and then we get here, and then there's nothing to talk about.
No, you just hate the phone.
I do, because we talk about all this stuff that we need to bring to the table here, and I just feel like when we go to rehash it, it's like not hashed as well. Nothing beats the first time story around.
Well, let's see if that's true.
Okay.
All right, then.
A lot of problems I've been having with people I've been talking about with all this stuff on self-esteem, whether it be the adult you or the children, because of all the troubles and problems you're going through, and the I can't, and I am not, and you are not, and all this stuff that really does a lot of damage.
Well, I would agree with that.
I hate it. I don't like to say hate, but I do say hate a lot because I hate that. Nobody deserves to, I know it's a tough world out there. It's like, not suck it up, Junior, but, it is what it is. And we as adults, in fact, even, our own selves, nobody wants to, I'm a mess. I'm this. I just can't get it together. Wah. It's hard. What do we do?
Well, we have to learn to believe in ourselves in a long way.
How do you do it?
Well, for me, I was very nervous and very scared when I was a young kid. I wouldn't be able to. We meant to, being with the Marines, we would go to this city and that city and that city. So it was hard to find friends that you could be solid, foundation, But even then, I just was very, very nervous whenever I had to stand up and read something or anything like that. I wanted to be in the back corner. I just wanted to be left alone, and pretty much that. I didn't have, I wasn't very happy about myself, I guess, at that point. And then I met you, and I feel great.
Okay, Pinocchio. The thing is that even what you said with friends, because I see with Anna and like the school, your best friends become your best friends because they happen to be the people who are in front of you right there and at that time. Like 1 month at the beginning of school, Anna's got these group of little girls and they're all, buddy. And then all of a sudden I'm picking her up and going, there's your friends over there. And she's like, right. I don't want to go over there. And I go, why not? She goes, they're just not being nice. They're not, or this, not. I go, listen, don't worry about it. You're okay. You're going to have new friends every time you go to every class, every time you move to every location. I go, this week they're not your friends, next week they're your friends. It's like, whose problem is that? That's definitely not yours.
Well, these are children, too.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But again, about the stuff, they're being mean. They tell you things, and it sinks into their heads, just like we as adults, how you raise your children tell them.
Now that I think about it, you learn as being children to be the dickheads that you are.
How do you have the confidence, not cockiness, confidence of being like, hey, you know what? I'm okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be this pompous ass. Like, she's pretty steady on that. She doesn't go, once in a while, she gets out, tooty toot, I go, okay, I know you're kidding, right? And she goes, right. Because being just a stable and not worrying about what somebody told you and letting it destroy your life, because especially through divorce, there's a whole lot of emptiness going on right now. And we, even as adults, it's like, we didn't get the jobs that we thought we were going to go get. And you're not making the money we were going to make. And now how are we doing? So how's that affecting us? And then how do you keep pushing forward and going, you know what? It's cool. We're okay. How do you do it?
I think the biggest hit is the divorce part, because you were supposed to be the man or the woman. You're the one that was supposed to,
or the couple.
Yeah, exactly. That is going to be make sure that everyone's covered, everyone's going to be safe, everyone's going to be happy, and that's your job. And when you do it, you feel tremendously strong. I do anyway. When I walk in the house, we had the big house and all that stuff. That was cool, but was really cool when the kids would run down the stairs and jump on you because they loved you that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that gave me so much strength that I could come after the job every day, and it was rough a lot of times. It was a lot of money at the time, which was great, but there was a price for it. And but when my ex-wife decided that, hey, I'm out of here, and you only get to see him 50-50, which is the best deal you could get, at the time. But I'm a loser. I definitely lose. I should have done this. I could have done that, which is true. There are true things where I could have done things better. I could have, but it's hard to point the fingers exactly at who's doing all the worst things. I mean, I have my own option for it, but that's when I really started wondering if everything that I done in my past was all just BS. You know what I mean? Because making a bunch of money, making a record, whatever, that's great. But these are my kids. This is the greatest creation I'm ever going to make. And all of a sudden, boom, And I bet a lot of our people feel the same way.
You get a whole big giant family that's poor but happy. I mean, so the money isn't necessarily the issue, but I mean, just everything about your inner soul. Like little kids, I mean, kids are mean. They go to school and it's like, what if one kid's saying, you're fat, or you got a big head, or I used to, as a kid, shocking. They'd make fun of my nose. Okay, I don't have the smallest nose. I'm freaking Greek. People, get over it. But then as I got older,
that's a nose.
Yeah, exactly. Take a good look at it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And the whole thing was, though, as I got older, my face grew into my nose, so to speak. You know what really scary? As I get older now, you know how your ears, as an old person, the ears and everything, I might be in big trouble. I might have ears down to my damn thighs, and
you might want to use
Toucan Sam. Yeah, but the thing was, I remember those days, and it bothered me, but it didn't affect me. But you remember stuff like that because kids are mean.
It did affect me.
And my daughter, and it's like constantly, it's like everything's hey beautiful. I mean, is she the most beautiful? No, absolutely not. She's a good-looking little girl. She's healthy. That's all that matters to me. But she's a healthy little girl. And as you grow, things change. You know what I mean? She's no skinny mini, but she's not overweight by no means to where I'm concerned about her. But she's growing. And that all that matters to me is that her head is in the right place, because to me she's more beautiful inside than anything else, because at least she's stable in that. How much damage gets done. I'm lucky.
Oh, absolutely. I've told you that a million times.
I know,
and
I know
for the people that come in and want to see our show, I will continue to say so, because you are very,
I am very and I say
person.
it, and I hate.
That doesn't mean Jake and Megan are fantastic too. They're just a normal
They're going
kid.
through the normal crap that most people go through.
That's right.
I completely admit I'm dodging a bullet there, but that doesn't mean I'm not all screwed up in different areas. But there's a lot of reasons why I want to contribute to why I think she's doing a little better, and some things I just plain out got lucky because of the whole situation. But at school and things like that,
it's tough.
It's tough because that's real world.
I've seen Jake do that to kids that
teasing kids and
making fun of, because they
don't mean nothing.
Well, it does to them though. I can always tell when Jake comes home and he sits on the couch and he watches TV. He knows that all the time, but you could tell that he's not speaking that much, and you just know, hey, what's going on? So sometimes when I come to pick him up, I'll be half a, I don't know, 4 or 5 cars behind, so I can see, and he doesn't necessarily see me. He was playing basketball, and he could clobber every kid in the place, but he's not that kind of guy. He's just a really good dude. But if you're a little weighted, you have a little bit of weight, and they make fun of you, it hurts like getting punched. It really does. Yeah. And you have to learn, like you said, to stand your ground and say, hey, why should I be concerned about you considering me.
It's
you know what I mean?
awkward being a kid. I mean, they change so much. I've seen kids that were like, I remember some other friends, and their kids were kind of husky, this and that. All of a sudden, you see them at 15, 16, 17, and they shot up, and it's like these handsome guys. It's like, holy crap. That's why even my father, I mean, even Mr. Ralph and stuff like that, he's going, don't eat that, you're going to get fat. And it's like, I'm going, stop. I go, because you have no idea what kind of damage you're doing internally. I already had enough of that with my ex.
Oh, you were saying it too.
Well, they don't mean it. They mean it, but they don't realize what damage it does to you. You know what I mean? They're little girls or boys or whatever. And it's like my father, when we were in Florida, he said to me, he says, she's gaining good little weight on her. I go, don't even go there. I said, because she's a baby. But they're just old school mentality. Now, if it was a big issue and she's 20 years old and stuff like that, but she's growing, for God's sake. This year she grew 4 inches this year. That stuff's got to go.
She did. She was tall. Yeah.
So, but nobody realizes it. People speak without thinking, and then we're just talking about the lighthearted
Well, kids don't think about talking at all. They just want to get something.
It's a tease and ha-ha and ganging up with the friends and this and that. But again, even ourselves about the self-esteem. You're getting your ass kicked and handed to you, and how do we keep ourselves to where they're looking up to us? You know what I mean? And it's like, Daddy's broke, but not broke. We're never going to be broke. But the thing is, I don't have it, but I'm still, nothing's going to stop us from moving forward. I mean, we just do things differently. That's all.
That's it. Well, but I also, when I see that Jake's having a problem with a couple different kids and stuff, I got to be honest, I kind of want him to go up and slug one of them, because if it's that vicious, and some of it has been, I can't even say these words sometimes, and these are kids, they're 10 years old.
Yeah, they're mean.
But that's the way it was when I was young in Denver. It was really a gangbang kind of, well, not a gangbang, but a bunch of gangs that wanted to be in these kind of gangs. So they were pretty vicious at a very young time, and you got the whole thing. And I in fact, I actually, I told Jake one time, because, he's a big, strong kid, and I don't want him to hit anybody, because he could really hurt somebody. He really could. But he doesn't want to. And he doesn't
I don't blame him.
And he doesn't want to get involved in something like that. I said, but it was the same guy that we had about 2 years ago. And this was a guy who was he was one grade up, and he picked Jake for some reason. And so I got the Andy Griffith CDs, and there's that one where
with the bully.
Which
now
is
we're dating
great,
ourselves again.
Which is great
Paul,
for it.
Go punch him right in the eye.
And you just stand your ground, and it's not going to hurt as much as you think, and you'll feel so strong yourself. And if he takes a hit on you, then you fight back. Yeah. It was the whole thing. And the greatest part of that is where Andy's in the was he at home, or is he?
Did he get punched in the eye too? Was that how it went? I don't know. It's been a long time, man.
Who, Dad? Andy?
Yeah, even
no,
Andy.
No, Andy.
Opie.
No. Oh, no, but
Bonnie.
No, it was.
Punch him in the eye, you damn hillbilly. Now, Bonnie, you shut up.
Well, you just took that right over. All right, but no, it's the one where Opie keeps coming by, and he said, "Gee, Dad, did you ever get in a fight?" And he said, "Yeah, there's a guy who was really giving me a hard time, real hard time."
Good cracker.
He said, and I got tired of having to deal with this like this. He goes, but I remember what it was. It was Opie had to give his nickel to the guy
his
for
lunch money or something, right?
Yeah, he needed the nickel, and he'd come home and he didn't have any milk, and he goes, "Can I have two milks?" Because he goes, "I really want to get strong." And B's like, "Oh well, of course." And of course, Andy finally figures it out that he's just giving it to him because he doesn't want to get punched.
Right.
And so but it's really a beautiful scene when he sits down with Andy.
Buying dope.
With Andy, when he's with Andy, and Andy explains, he goes, "So what'd you do, Dad? What'd you do?" He goes, I got tired of feeling like I can't take care of myself. He said, I didn't want to punch anybody. I don't want to get in a fight. He goes, but I'm going to stand my ground. I'm going to stand right in front of him, and if he hits me, then I'm going to swing and hit him back. He goes, and you did, Paul? Really? What'd you do? And he goes through the whole deal. And he goes, yeah. He goes, well, did it hurt? He goes, you know what's funny about it? It really didn't. He goes, it didn't hurt that bad at all, really. He goes, and I was like, wow, I should have done this before. I should have stood in my way. And he goes, did you swing at him too, Dad? And he goes, I did. He goes, I did. And then I never had a problem with him again. So Opie goes on, and you're nervous for the whole rest of the show, because he's going to school, and he's going to be, that guy is going to be in his way, and what's going to happen. And then, of course, you've got Andy, at the courthouse, and he's going back and forth. And of course, that Barney's going to have to, I should go out there to dance. I could get over there, and I get, no, you got to let him do this himself. He goes, I think that's ridiculous. He could get hurt, and I could.
Andy, let me go out there and pop a cap in his ass.
You sound more like Aunt B, actually, there. But anyway, so the clock keeps going, and they're looking out the window and the whole deal. And then Andy's really, really nervous now. He's got his head in the other side of the room, and he's just shaking his head like, oh boy, could have been really bad, right? And all of a sudden, bam, here comes Opie right out there. Hey, Paul, I did it. He has this gigantic black eye, man, just huge. And he goes, and Andy comes running. He goes, what happened? He goes, I did it. Yeah, he goes, I didn't care about it at all. And when he hit me, you know what, Paul? And Andy goes, what? He goes, you were right. It didn't hurt that much at all. It didn't hurt at all. And then I swung and I hit him right in the face. He goes, and by the way, here, I got some nickels back to you that I borrowed from you. And he goes, well, he goes, you're a great guy. Oh, and he goes, yeah. He goes, I'll tell you one thing. I know for sure. He goes, it's better to get punched than to not have milk or something like that, So I showed that to Jake, and Jake was 9 then, 8 or 9, and he never watches black and white stuff. Like, he watched the whole thing and wanted to watch it again. Yeah. It has power.
Well, they were a good show, and that had a message.
It's a good message for kids. And, those kind of things sometimes help more than I could help him in some ways. You know what I mean? So,
probably. Again, confrontation. And some of these kids are brats. There's some kids that are, brought up bullies. And obviously, Anna's not very confrontational. And I was never as a kid either. I don't like it. But you can only get, my father stuck up for me a couple of times. I was the only kid. I had no brothers or sisters, nobody. But, people are mean. They're just mean people. And it's like, and if you don't go through that stuff, and even if you get your butt kicked or you do, you carry things with you. I know you think of things that when you were a child, we all do about things, and you tend, what you're molding and shaping is the future.
In a way it is, yes, yeah. Absolutely.
The kid that never liked this or was always told that. If somebody tells you this certain child, they're stupid, they're going to grow up, I'm stupid. If they speak Swahili, they're going to speak Swahili. It's just that.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
is. So it's really important to me.
Well, it's something that's always happened with kids from the time of one, and I had problems like that. I'm sure you probably had problems like that. You're lucky if you're in an area where the kids are actually decent and nice and kind.
I had a little bit of both. I mean, I had actually friends that would stick up for me. They were older. They were not really the nicest guys when they were actually kind of bad people when it came to, the drugs and criminals and kind of thing, but they stuck up for me. They were like, I didn't have a brother, but I still didn't like confrontation. I still don't. It's
no one wants to.
Some people live for it, man. Yeah. Some people, that's their thing. They get off on it. They want to feed off of your anxiety and fears, and it makes them feel powerful.
Well, your self-esteem isn't just, muscle.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I can't, like I've seen a lot of the kids at school, and they're very angry, and because they couldn't get their whatever the product is today. They can't, when they go into school and they're not doing exactly right like everybody else is, and they're a little behind. Yeah. That hits, I think, a lot harder than somebody trying to slug you. I mean,
I can't. I mean, this, and that's the only thing I ever told Ann. And so far, again, so good, because I'm very proactive on this. I stay on it because it's such a scary thought. My ex had a daughter, middle daughter, youngest, which is Anna's middle sister. And she grew up with I can't. I swear on I went crazy with the I can'ts. And I'm even riding a bicycle. I taught her how to ride a bicycle. She's 8 years old. I bought her a bicycle. She never had one. and I'm running behind her like a retard. Let's say like you do, because you're running and you're holding them, and she's crying. I can't. And after the many, many days and many attempts, I let her go, and she's riding on her own while she's crying. I can't.
Right.
This is the product of not having enough boost from within her surroundings to make sure that I can't word. And she still, I don't know now because I'm so out of the picture, but all I ever told Anna is like, just try. That's all I'll ever ask. I don't care if you're not the best at it, just try. So far, so good, because that left such a bad overtone in me that I said, this isn't going to happen with my child. And again, they're all wired differently, but it was always like, poor so-and-so, poor so-and-so. It wasn't poor so-and-so. She complained about something and didn't want to do nothing about it.
Right.
I hate it. You grow up like that. You become that adult.
Yeah.
Whiny,
well, you know what they say?
Pain in the ass.
They say what? From 2 to 7 is the biggest time frame of what you're going to be, which is kind of unfair because how can you possibly help?
You're a sponge.
You're
a sponge.
Yeah. How I guess
puppies, your dog situation, whatever you put in right now, well, that dog's a puppy is what you're going to get for the rest of that dog's life.
And what he sees is the way as being a parent. How I handle myself, how I walk, a lot
of that's instilled from birth, from upbringing, but then as an adult now with we all had our moments, and it's very devastating. To go from, but to go for where you liked yourself, you like who you are, you're good with it. My appearance, I've never been a great looking guy. I'm an average looking guy. I had a decent life that I was happy with, and now to have this, and you got to overcome it because if you're rich, you can do whatever you want to do. Even the prettiest woman in the world, you could be the ugliest guy in the world, and somehow or another, you got a hot girl. You know what I mean? It's just that simple. But money doesn't buy everything. It helps. I'm a firm believer.
Helps a lot.
It helps a lot.
Yeah.
But you got to start from a strong core from within. And when this stuff knocks you down, it's like, I can't do this because I don't have the money and the funding to do it. I don't want. So what do you do? How do you keep your own chin up when the chips are down?
Well, exactly, and you have to understand that money isn't everything, as you said, but we live in it. We live in a place where
it helps.
It's not just helps; you have to have it just to live.
You do.
Without money, things go down real quick.
You do, and there's no doubt about it. You got to have things. But again, I've seen whole families. They got the mother, father, and they got 8 kids, 5 kids, way too many than what they should have. And they just all live in a 1-bedroom apartment or whatever. But for the life of, they're happy. That's what they know. It's like their expectations. It's not like don't set your expectations high so you won't, but they're happy. And here we are with all this stuff and nobody's ever happy. And then on top of that, you go to courts and burn everything to the ground, and then you'd be reduced to like what we used to do and coulda, shoulda, coulda. Yeah. And now what?
Then you're 54 and
Big
you
shots.
don't know where to go, at this point.
Kind of, because of choices we made. It's not,
that's right.
It's like we could have been, and just say, hey, you know what, I got to go do this, and that's that.
Well, the self-esteem that attacked me was obviously during the divorce, because I thought I was doing a really good job as a dad. I really thought I was, I was taking care of everybody. I was making sure that everything that was needed was right. You can grab at those things anytime you needed it. I thought I was a fun guy. I thought
that's right, fun guy.
I was a fun guy, and I was, and we had a lot of great time. And then, of course, the situation with myself and my wife went just exploding, and it was kind of surprising to me. I knew that we were kind of struggling, but I never thought we would be doing this. All of a sudden, there's a new guy. I want to go now, and I want half of, all of that stuff. I wasn't concerned that much about the money. I know that sounds kind of like bullshit, but I really didn't care. Now, as time went on, I was kind of thinking, well, wait a minute, that's my money.
Yeah, you work hard for it. You work for it. But there's a lot of wealthy guys and women too, but more guys that they're on their third, trophy wife or whatever. Right. And more power to them. That's great. But we're talking about our kids, and not everybody gets those advantages. In fact, most don't.
But it's kind of exactly what you said before. We were talking about as our children just start to grow, and they watch us to see how we handle things. They see. But they get it twice, because let's say the divorce is when you're 10 and everything explodes, and all of a sudden your mom or your dad, then all of a sudden are like, how did this happen? What did I do? What's going on? How did what am I a loser? How could I, all that stuff comes up. It did for me. It came up to me like, how was I able to have this happen? Why couldn't I stop this? Why couldn't I have been the guy that should have just sat down and said, we're going to make this work, the whole thing, right? And instead, the kids, when they're 10, they see you the same way as they did it too, I think, because...
No, they're smarter now. They're deciphering a lot more
well,
now.
they understand a lot of it more, which makes it helpful.
Yeah.
But even so, I should have stood there and just nothing but smiles and strength and the whole thing, and a lot of mistakes.
Easier said than done.
I made a lot of mistakes.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there'd be no show. Life is grand.
Well, I was here because I thought we had beer, and so I was.
And even if we did, how long can that last? You know what I mean? It's a cheap thrill.
Yeah, right.
How long does it take to drink a 40?
Well, I'm Irish.
An old English. Yeah, so about 3 minutes then is what you're saying, and then you're done, and then what?
I do think about things every day when at the very, which doesn't happen very often, but when everyone's asleep and it's like 11:30, 12 o'clock, I sit out and just think about still to this day I think how could I have done this better?
You're still trying to rethink that.
Well, I do. I actually do. I mean, because and that's what's killing my self-esteem. I've got to realize of all the things I did that were great that I did. What I'm doing now, and not to beat my chest, but I'm beating my chest because don't look at my chest because.
Well, you're kind of doing that Italian thing right now.
The Italian thing? Yeah. Hey, it's hot in this studio.
Hey, Vinny.
Jesus. Studio, and we don't have any good air conditioning.
Well, we do, but it's all this hot topic.
Thank you.
Okay.
That apparently we should get paid for. I think that was an ad. But anyway. I just started thinking about all that I've done in the last 7 years. I've given up, and I know that sounds like
you martyr.
I know, but it's true. I gave up everything.
Me.
I had a beautiful girl that I really liked, and I was able to. If I had been able to go see her, she was in Arizona, and we could have gone longer. Who knows? But there's no possible way. And
you would have had to just do whatever and leave the kids behind, and when it's convenient, just like a lot of people do.
Yeah. I mean, but what makes it worse is as time goes by and times go by, and I haven't gone on a date in 6 months or whatever the case, or longer. And as long as it's longer, you start like, who cares? It's like it makes you. It just. Basically, the way you handle this thing is good for the kids in a lot of ways, but it's real bad for me and bad for us.
Yeah, you have to feel good
in that way.
Again, so the balance. But here's the thing, okay, so you're realizing all your mistakes or some mistakes that you're saying, hey, well, how could I have done this better? Okay, but at least you think about them, and hopefully you act upon not doing what you thought the wrong parts were and making the new parts better. Whereas as opposed to most people, they don't think about it, they don't care, they just keep on doing what they're doing, and that's that.
Well, we have seen so many, and there's no other way of saying it, I don't think so, douchebag parents, which is
the other topic that we talked about on the other topic.
But I'll tell you, those kind of guys, I just don't understand. I mean, I was down at the park. Jake was playing basketball with some of his little pals. I didn't know her. She came in and we were talking, and she told me this story that's unbelievable. He's a millionaire, I guess, and the little guy's really cool. He's a really nice young kid, and he's got ears and an ear problem and stuff, and he's just a really nice little guy. And Jake likes him a lot, and we're talking, and so I started explaining how our divorce happened and stuff, and then she told me, I mean, apparently that you just this was okay for a couple of years, but this is way better for me. So I'm just going and. Fuck off, basically, And when do you see your son? Not very often, hardly ever. And and this guy's growing up, and he's a young kid, and like that one other guy we saw. Remember?
Okay, what do you think that does to that little kid's self-esteem?
Exactly.
It's like nobody just said. I mean, mothers are great, and again, we're both pro mother and father. There's but you need that balance. Again, my ex grew up with her kids hardly with no father. Did they survive? Yes, they survived. But I really seriously, when it boils down to it, there's a missing piece to the puzzle.
Right.
When it really gets down to the nitty gritty, there's a piece to that balancing act. That's why I swore I would never leave my daughter, because of the experiences I had to deal with, because my ex's father to their kids was not around. And I saw what trials and tribulations, and I swore that I'd never do that to my daughter, because, well, number one, we weren't going to get divorced. Well, surprised.
Well, yeah, we all said
surprised.
that.
Yeah. And so therefore I had to take the next step, and it's like, no matter what it takes, no matter what I have to do, no matter who I have to become, I'm never going to let my daughter not be around my daughter and let her be fatherless. And I'm doing it.
Are you sure?
But it's killing me.
Yeah, well, me too. That's why we have the show.
Yeah.
And it's for women as well. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of women. I'm just saying, but we're talking about us.
But it took me so long to realize that I have to start being proud of what I have been able to do. I've had you and a lot of people hit me with stuff that to me really hurts my soul a lot. Well, because you have money and and stuff like that. Not really what you meant, but...
We're all making mistakes. But again, I do also believe that, a lot of these guys and these women who are doing these things, like, believe me, there's, women, everybody. But sometimes from the inner perspective, you don't see these things. And sometimes you got to get it from somebody outside that's close to you going, dude, I don't know if you realize this,
Absolutely.
And that's called an opinion, but...
that's true. And sometimes you got to do a hard whatever, to let you know. But I just was proud. It's weird because still to this day, and it's been 8 years now, I still, not like it used to be, but every once in a while I'll be driving or I'll be thinking, and I'll either have wow, I'm really doing a great job. I'm doing the best I possibly can. I have to fight a war against someone that I should never have to have a war with, and it's no good for our kids anyway, but it's going to happen anyway because we don't have any choice. But I've kept them healthy. I've kept them, they're getting good grades. They're having, they're happy for the most part. And then there's the other part. It's like a coin. It's like a coin. You just flip it, and the next one is like, oh, you're such a loser.
Your tides turn. Whereas most, start healing little by little, and then it keeps moving forward. Yours just kind of gone more backwards, and so you're having to relive and conquer new issues, which is a bitch.
Absolutely,
it's a bitch. And I'm kind of, but I went through just war after war because I don't take that crap, but. You're going to experiencing maybe some stuff that you should have experienced in the beginning but didn't, and now it's like coming back at you uncontrollably.
You don't know that much about that. Your situation was a lot different than
They're all different. But I'm just saying that yours instead of getting better, now it's getting worse again.
Well, not really. Now things are picking up a little bit.
This week.
Yeah. So the bottom line is that I do it the way I think is correct. And I was talking to my friend who owns Galpin. Yesterday he called me. We talked for 30 minutes, and he told me that even he knew quite a few big power friends that had exactly the same problem, same time, being in anywhere between 9 and 13. That is terrible.
Absolutely.
And the best thing you can do is just love her and take care of her. Because if you go in there, she's going to make you look more like a villain than you ever have been.
But again, we've said it time and time again through this issue. It's really not the problem you're not having you're having a problem with her, but it's no cooperation from the other side, which should be cooperating with you fully because of your situation. You know what I mean? There's no help from the other side when something like this is going on, because this could be going on even if you guys were both in cahoots, in coordination with each other.
It's being built all the time.
Yeah.
It's always being built.
But that's the whole thing. You got nobody to lean on and go, hey, you know what? Our daughter, is going through this, and what are we going to do? There's no we. The thing I'm trying to tell you is you have to keep your head together to keep the confidence in your kids as well as yourself, because your kids can see you the same too. They know you like a book in their own adolescent ways, but they know Anna knows when I'm frustrated. She knows when, life is just like, hey, we're just kicking it. But the one thing is, I think the key to that whole thing is just plain old-fashioned love. Period. Yeah. End of story.
But there are definitely times where things are so stressful, you get anger, you start, and if you make one little mistake, that stuff goes into their heads and it sticks with them. Yeah. But you know what? Every single parent in the world has those kind of problems. I mean,
I know they do.
No one's perfect, and realistically, you just have to learn how to, if you make a mistake, you just go on. You can't sit there and cry about it. You got to do the best you can.
I get it. We all make mistakes, and we all try it. So long as you're sitting there and aware of them and try to learn from it, it's great. But if you keep on being a dumbass, well, then again, shame on you. All I'm saying is, I think it's very important.
What did you mean by dumbass?
I spell it backwards. Ass dumb. I don't even know how you spell that backwards. I've never been good at spelling. Yes, it's all good so long as you take what you take and then try to make better of it. Period. End of story. The kids they're sponges. Can't say it enough. They don't forget. Think of all the stuff you remember as a kid. I'll never forget half that stuff. Although they do,
we just talked about that all day today.
Yes.
And as far as self-esteem, it is built by what they learn, and that's
one day we have to let them fly away on their own, and you just only could hope. I mean, my parents, again, 50 years old and going through a divorce, and they're worrying about me like I'm 10 years old. That sucks. It really does. They shouldn't have to worry about that kind of crap,
Yeah.
And that's so you want your kids to grow up, and this world is so screwed anyway. Just getting ready to use harsh language. But it's screwed as it is, so you want them with as much ammo in their own self-esteem department as they can get.
But you never know how many of these like Mark Cuban and all those guys. If you ever hear about their life when they were young and stuff.
He hasn't called me in a while. I'm telling you,
that's because you don't like the Mavericks.
Well,
that's why.
That's true.
But seriously, I mean, a lot of these guys who are just so successful and so because they want to be, because they were being just pushed and beaten and whatever.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
That's a small margin, man.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the number is.
I really wouldn't want to say that that's the way to raise your kids so they can be somebody.
I'm not saying that. But it has been done to quite a few people.
People are all different. They can survive different things.
There are certain guys that say, hey, I'm tired of getting this shit,
the
stuff getting beat on me.
That's true. And there's some that say, I'm tired of it, and off themselves, too. That's
true, too.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. I rather to play it a little bit safer and try to be
of course.
Yeah, I'm not going to be. I'm not the guy who beats my kids. I don't know,
No.
I'm never going to be that guy.
No.
In fact, so...
Well, I haven't either.
Yes. But I am beat, by the way.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're done.
I think we're done?
Okay.
I think there's a lesson for all of this, and I hope it's a lesson for all of you guys, and never give up with your kids and yourself. Even though life is dealing you a bunch of crappy cards, there's something in there that, there's always been a positive. Every one of when I was going through a divorce, people would keep saying, Peter, I know it sounds like it sucks, but believe me, it's going to get better. They're right. It's taking forever. But they're right.
It takes years.
Yeah,
so, that's the thing.
There'll be 18 different presidents by the time I get going. But
well, let's hope let's not get in that.
No, I'm just saying time-wise. Anyway, it's all good. Look, thank you guys for listening. My name is Peter G. Jimmy's sitting across from me. Waving.
I'm waving.
He's
yes,
waving.
I am.
He's taking hand signals.
I have a volume wave.
We appreciate you guys listening. Don't forget to check us out on iTunes, Facebook, YouTube, and share it with your friends because Lord knows there's a lot of people that are messed up in this world and need this, and we love you guys. Peace out.
Wow, that was great.
The Jim and Peter Show.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Be safe.
See ya.
Jim and Peter.